it's that time of year where, it's Christmas. We're all thinking of what to do for one another, what sort of gifts we want to give, and also during a time where it's kind of crazy outside and you may not want to spend so much money at a store or whatnot. So I figured I would do a tutorial for a stocking. Yes, there are, of course, many amazing stockings on the market now, and honestly, you can go to Etsy and find some probably cuter stockings than what I'm gonna make in this video. But I had all this Christmas fabric. I didn't know what I was gonna do with all this Christmas fabric, so I decided I was gonna make a stocking for a very close friend of mine, and I will show you the materials that I will be using. I am making a quilted embroidered stocking. I will not show you how to do the embroidery, mostly because I am also still a beginner, but I will at least show you my embroidery materials. So first, let's go on with the stocking materials. Alright? This is not like the oven mitt where we're not using it for hot things, so it doesn't really matter if it's like 100% cotton. Some of these fabrics I'm not sure on the blend. Like this one, I think this is kind of a polyester blend fabric. It doesn't feel 100% cotton, but I am just using what I have on hand. If you have other fabrics, feel free to use those. If you have certain themes that you want to theme it around, that is okay. So I'm going to use this most likely for the inside. This is going to be the outer side, and then we're probably gonna do this for the back side of the outside. And then you know how they have that extra little bit at the very top of the fabric? I'm thinking maybe using some of the leftover from a quilt I just made. So, yeah, I may use this. I don't know yet. I just have it out because I'm planning out as I go. And what I'm also going to use is some 80/20 batting as well to kind of help give it some thickness. So this is what we're going to do. Now, you don't really have to have a pattern for this because stocking is basically like a sock shape. So you can just like take some wrapping paper or some brown paper if you have it somewhere and draw out a stocking shape, and I am going to show you what I am using for that. Alright, sorry about that. I had to go get a snack and soda. So I decided to go ahead and start pinning the pattern down. I used brown packing paper because I got a bunch of it from my recent order from Joann's. So it's not perfectly on here, but this little bit that's a little bit cut off is the seam allowance, so that's gonna be okay. But yeah, this is essentially the stocking, and I didn't want the pattern to be straight up and down on it, so that's why it's at a little bit of an angle. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out all the pieces that I need, and yeah. So I did a lot of stuff off of camera because I didn't want it to be as long as the other video. It's going to be a long video, but I didn't want it to be like 32 minutes long like the hot pad. So I took some brown paper, like I said already, and I drew out kind of the shape of a stocking that I wanted, and then I placed it on the fabric I was using and I cut around that. And I did it to where the fabric was front sides facing. It was folded over, front sides facing, and I cut out the stocking. And now I have it pinned to some batting material. You don't have to use batting. If you don't have it, that is okay. This is just what I'm doing. I'm probably putting way too many extra steps in here, but it's for someone that I care about. So yeah. Anyway, So the batting is front sides facing, and then I pinned it to the fabric. I cut out front sides facing, then I pinned it to the batting. I'm not gonna cut out the batting. I'm just gonna stitch around, and then I'm gonna cut the batting. And for the front part of the stocking, I cut out some of this cool fabric, and I'm gonna make sure it's straight, of course, before I stitch it down. But I wanted this deer right here at the front, so we're gonna stitch all of this together, and then I'm gonna show you what to do next. Remember what I said earlier, that it's not like the hot pad? You don't have to worry if things are 100% cotton. I'm not going to use my cotton thread. I'm going to use my all-purpose thread for the stocking, and I have it set to this, the normal stitch, which is this one right here, and then my stitch length isn't that big, so I'm using the regular foot. There is no thread in my machine yet, but there will be in a minute. I'm going to pull the thread out, and I do have to reload a bobbin because I have to use red thread, and I don't have a red bobbin, but I have red thread right here. So this is the Coats & Clark all-purpose thread, and that is what I'm going to use for the red portion of the stocking. So once this is all stitched down to the batting, I'm going to draw out my brain right now. I'm going to use the tailor's chalk, and I'm going to draw out the quilting. So we're going to stitch around the edge here, and then we're going to take our tailor's chalk and draw out the quilting part. Alright, so we're going to flip this over, and now you can see that the front fabric is now completely stitched onto the batting, and we're going to cut the batting off, and then we're going to do the quilting, because like I said, this is going to be a quilted stocking. So again, this is the outer layer. This is going to be the back of the stocking, but it's the outer layer. So we're going to cut the batting, and then we're going to take our ruler and measure all the lines that we need for the quilting part. Okay, so now I drew the lines for the quilting, and I'm gonna cut out the extra batting from around the stocking, and then we're going to stitch this all up, and then we're gonna repeat this on the front piece, but the front piece is going to have an extra panel right here. So we're gonna do this really fast. I'm gonna do it off camera so that, you know, this video doesn't take too long, and then I'll show you everything once we get to the front piece. Okay, so both sides are now completely done. We have this side, which is done, and then also this side, which is also done. It's not the straightest in the world, but you can hardly really tell on the outer part, but they are both done. And as you can see, one is going this way and one is going the other way, so when you flip it together, they match up perfectly. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to sew all the way around it, leaving this part open. Okay, so we're gonna sew about 1/4 of an inch seam all the way around, and then we're gonna cut the excess batting off once that is done, and then we're going to like do some slits around the rounded parts so that when we flip it and then do the backing, or not backing, but the lining, it's not going to be so bulky around the edges. So I know it sounds confusing now, but hopefully hopefully I can help you guys through it. But yes, I am loving how this is turning out so far. So, you know, once it's done, it'll look pretty cool. And then I'm gonna also show you how to do a little hook thing to put it on the mantle. So yeah, we're gonna stitch this together, and then we're gonna do our little hook, and then we're gonna assemble and put it all together, and yeah. Okay, so I know I'm all over with these steps here. I went ahead and I stitched the inner lining, and I did it front sides facing, and you can usually tell, like, because see, that's the inside. You can also recognize this from the oven mitt. I just thought that this was like a really cool, like, kind of could also be used for Christmas. So the front sides are facing, and I stitched it together, and I did leave a gap so that when we sew it all together, there is a gap that can, you know, be turned. Everything can get turned correctly, and then, you know, now we just have to assemble the stocking. Okay, so I now stitched the top two pieces together, and we're going to turn it around. I'm going to grab the inside, flip it out to the outside. We're going to see how this looks. Gonna press out all my seams. It's a little bulky in the one area, which is to be expected. Okay, so here you see that I need to go back through in the machine and fix this little piece. And sometimes that happens. You just gotta push through. But once that's done, this is what it will look like. And then we're gonna do the lining. So I'm gonna fix this little hole, and then going to get back to putting the rest of this together. Now, to ensure things, I'm just gonna go around the whole boot part to make sure that it's completely, like, held together. Okay, so I went a little further around than originally thought, but that's okay. Want to make sure this is completely put together the right way. So now we're gonna flip this. It does feel like I stitched it fully. I'm gonna press out these seams, make sure it's all good. Okay. So here's the thing. Doesn't look like a traditional stocking, I know, but it's my first ever stocking I've ever made, so I like it. I'm gonna iron this, and then we're going to attach our lining, and then we're gonna turn everything correctly, and then we're going to do the little tag here on the side, and then we're gonna have a finished stocking. So I'm using very low settings because I'm ironing directly on the table. But again, I don't have an ironing board yet, but I am hopefully going to be getting one soon. So we're going to iron this. I like how this is looking so nice. So now we're going to iron. I am using steam. The reason I'm using steam is I am getting all the pencil, or not pencil, but all the chalk off. Turn that off immediately. And now we're all ironed up and ready for the liner. The very best to explain this. All we're going to do is we're going to take the front and we're going to stick it inside the liner. So we're going to stick this inside our liner, and then I'll show you what it looks like after, because I need to do it off camera. And as you can see this here, then you can see front sides facing. Now what we're hoping for is when we take this part and we feed it through, the green will be on the outside, because that's a lot of seams to undo. So we're going to do, like I've been doing, a 1/4 of an inch seam around the edge here, and then we're gonna flip it all around and show you what it looks like. Had extra strength. I back tacked a couple of times at the front and the back, well, the beginning and end, and now I'm just trimming off like all the extra things and tails of stuff. And now it is time for the reveal, to hope that I did this correctly myself, because if you're also doing this, I'm also learning, so we're learning together here. And we're gonna hope that once we turn this green completely around, it's going to be correct, and it's looking like it will be. I think we did this right, guys. Oh yeah. So now what we want to do is we want to take our hand, stick it through there, flatten out all our seams, get everything, out. Now, if I were doing this for like an order, I would switch the thread to be green. But this is for someone I care about. I know they're not going to pay too close attention to all the little details. So we're going to stitch this opening right here closed. Now this is where having like invisible tape would be good. But I don't have any of that. I am a seamstress on a budget, but we're going to sew this end closed, and then we're gonna tuck it inside, and then we're gonna have our stocking, and it's gonna be so cool, and it's gonna be finished and handmade, and whoever you're gonna give this to is gonna love it, and it'll last for years. So if you guys have made it this far, thank you so much. I really hope you all are well, and I know I'm usually like an artist on here where I do paintings, colored pencil, but I've been sewing a lot, so that is why I am making some sewing videos. So we're gonna cut off. Now, with this, you definitely want to make sure that you cut all the tails off, since it's gonna be more viewed than the other ones. But yeah, cut these off as much as we can. And now the big reveal of tucking it in. And we did it, guys. We did it. It just tucked in. It works. It fits very nicely. Now, I do feel a little bit of a flaw. It's a little bit bunched up at this part, but that is okay. It's our first time. It's not going to be completely perfect. We're all doing this together. And now what you want to do is iron. You want to iron, and you want to try and get this as flat as you can, so that when you iron, you know. So here's what the inside's going to look like. I'm wondering if we should stitch around the top here. I'll have to change my needle to a thicker needle because I'm using a 14. I would probably need to switch to a 16. But let's iron. So now that we have our stocking done for the most part, all that's really left to do is our tassel. Call this what you want. You can call it the hook where you hang it on the mantle or thumbtack or whatever you're using this year. I folded some of this. It's the same fabric as this, and I cut. I didn't really measure. You can do it any size you want, any like thickness you want. Mine's about little under a full inch thick. I do have to go back through and fix this because, yeah, I messed up a little bit. So I'm gonna do that, and then what we are going to do is we're going to attach like so, just like that, and then it's done. First, I'm going to fix this little bit here that I pointed out earlier. Okay, so I fixed the tag, and now I am cutting off all the tails. And now it is time to fit it in. Like so, and then we're gonna sew. And now I'm going to sew. So I'm going to back tack a couple of times. And go all the way, and then all the way back. And then I'm going to draw a box with the thread all the way around the edge. Just like that, we are done. Now I'm going to cut off all the loose threads. And boom, we are done. So now you should have a finished, if you followed along, now you should have a nice finished stocking. Now, you can do it a lot simpler than I did. Absolutely, you don't need the batting like I did. I just did the batting because I like nice, thick feeling stockings. I don't know about you, but I know I do. And I really think the person who is getting this stocking is really gonna like it. Now, I know I said at the very beginning I was going to embroider this. I decided not to. Mostly just, I'm doing enough steps on this already. Now, if you're doing this with plain colored fabric, I would recommend you to embroider something somewhere on it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and hopefully if you followed along, you have a nice put together stocking for someone you care about, or you know, your kids, you know, I mean, care about your kids of course, but like, you know what I mean, I hope. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put this in my suitcase because I'm going to be gone for Christmas day, and yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you watched this far, leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you enjoyed this video, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys are well. I am so sorry for being gone for so long and then just like coming back and then like going and coming back. That's usually what I tend to do, unfortunately. But thank you for those who have subscribed. I think the last I looked, we are at 125 subscribers. I still can't believe it, but I love you all. And yeah, so now I'm going to get back to painting. You can see this painting here. I did the plein air painting a while ago, so I'm gonna try and do some painting on camera because I did not film that one. But yeah, so thank you for watching this tutorial, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Alright guys, bye!